Hi, welcome to Chapter 6 of the Rodeo Management System demo. In this chapter, we will be talking about managing entrants and payments. So let's jump over to the admin system, and we will start at Rodeo Setup, Manage Rodeo Entrants. So the first thing we do, obviously, is choose the rodeo. And this is one of the main reports functions that you will use prior to a rodeo. In last chapter, we covered adding entrants, and here we will talk about after people have entered how we can edit, adjust, add, and delete entrants from the rodeo here. So what you see here is we have the count column, which simply shows how many entries there are in this rodeo, and it just numbers them. The edit column, the name of the entrant, their member number, which entry group they are part of, the event for this particular entry, any money owing for their entries in this rodeo, and this amount is what they owe for all events combined. So Roberta Hayes, for example, has entered a number of events, and this is the total still outstanding for all of those events. If you see it in this brown or gold color, or you see it the same with zero owing, that means that they have made at least one payment. If you see the amount owing in red, that means that they have not made any payments at all towards this rodeo yet. Then you'll see their performance preferences. So for standard rodeos with multiple performances, this is used by the draw generation engine to place them into a performance. There is the entered by column, which can be entered by the admin. So if they had phoned in or if they had emailed in their information and it was entered by an admin, or if it has been entered by a member directly in the entry form that we looked at last chapter. And these columns here allow you to do some quick functions. You can duplicate an entry, so it would simply make a copy of this entry and they would be entered twice in this event. You can delete this entry only, so Roberta Hayes in bareback riding would be deleted. Or you can delete all lead events, and so any event that Roberta Hayes is the lead in, which would include any individual events, or if she was the lead entrant in a team event, then you can delete all the events that Roberta is in simply by clicking this. It will ask you to confirm, so you won't accidentally delete something just by clicking the button. So we also have this button here called Turn Off Dollar Display. When this report loads, it calculates the amount owing for each and every event listing here. So it can take a while to load, especially if you have 100, 200, 300 plus entries in a rodeo. So if you turn off the dollar display and then hit the select again, it simply loads quicker. So if you're doing a lot of work here, making a lot of changes, that can speed things up. You can turn it back on and hit select again, and now the calculations are there again. So one way to quickly find somebody in this report, because it can be quite long, is to use some default browser functionality. Just push Control F, and we will search for Rusty, as you see up here in the search box, and we will be able to find all occurrences of Rusty in this rodeo entry. So one of the things that you may need to do is you may need to edit an entry. So let's have a look at this entry here, and we will just click the edit button, and here we see that same information we looked at when we were entering. And let's change Rusty from steer wrestling to saddle bronc, and then you just hit the submit button, and we have now moved Rusty from one event to the other, which may happen because somebody accidentally enters the wrong event or or for whatever reason. As you know, there's many reasons why there can be changes, and we just simply have the functionality here to be able to make a change. Now we can also look at an entire entry group. So let's have a look at this group. And what we see here is the group ID and everybody within that group, and the system will attempt to place them in the same performance for all of these events when it runs the draw. So we can delete different entries in this group. We can change the performances. We can switch the entire group from a preference of performance 1 to performance 2 as the first preference, and we just save that. And now we will see that that will all be changed to, for this group, performance 2 and then performance 1. We'll go back to the group and we can see we can add another entry to this group. So let's take Roberta Hayes and add to the barrel racing event, and it will copy in the group ID, and it will preset the performances to what was already set for that group, and we just hit submit, and now we've added Roberta Hayes to that group as a barrel racer as well. So if we click that group again, we will see Roberta Hayes barrel racing. There we are. So after you're done doing some of the editing, you can simply click Return to List, and that will bring you back to this screen. Now let's look more closely at the paid column. So as we said, if it is showing in brown, it means they've made at least some kind of payment. If it's showing in red, it means they haven't made any payment. Well, if we click on the link, it will take us to the Manage Payments area, and it will give us a detailed breakdown of all the events that they are in, any event fees, and any payment that they have made and the total amount owed. And then it will allow us to manage payments for this particular member. We can see that payment again here, and we can add a payment to if they show up at the rodeo with the balance owing of $106, let's say, then we can show that they're making a payment, and the payment type was cash or check or whatever form they're giving you. It will preset the amount to the balance owing, or you can enter a different amount if their payment is different. You hit the save button, and now we'll see the same detailed breakdown. It is showing both of those payments and the total owed. And from here, we can hit the View List button, and now it's going to give us a bit of a different look here. This is now the entire rodeo, all the entrants in the rodeo, and it is going to show the member name, member number, and which events, all events they have entered. So you can see Roberta has entered quite a few here. Rusty is in 2. And any amount that they have paid and anything outstanding will be shown here as well. If we want to get back to that detailed breakdown, we would hit the Record Payment button, and that brings us that detail again. And then you hit View List to return back to here. So you will see next to the Record Payment button that there are 2 additional buttons, Paid by Check and Paid by Cash. So what these do is they will automatically take the amount still outstanding and mark it as paid by either one of these methods. So if we were to hit Paid by Check for Rusty Harris, now we will see that Rusty Harris has paid his full amount. And if we were to look at the detail, we will see that it was paid by check, and it will mark it as today's date. And here's that breakdown again. We'll go back to View List. And again, if you hit Paid by Cash, it will do the same thing. For those that still owe money, there is a feature here where you can send a reminder. And if you click this button, it will load up your email program with a message from you to that member and showing how much they still owe, and a link where they can click the link and go to pay this amount online. So we also have some buttons here up above the table, and for standard format rodeos, what we can do here is we can limit the display to only show those members who are entered or who have been drawn into Performance 1 or only drawn into Performance 2. And then to switch back to showing all, you just click Show All Entrants. And when that is usually used is after the draw has been generated and you're at the rodeo taking outstanding payments at the gate. This will allow you to shorten the list so that people who are showing up, say, on a Saturday for Performance 1, you can just see that group of members. And then perhaps people who are showing up on Sunday, because they're in Performance 2, you can see just that group of members. We also have a print-only view, which simply removes all those buttons and gives you a slightly more compact view of the system. And for those associations who are taking payments in another method, not within Rodeo Management System, and you've gathered all the payments and you simply want to mark everyone as paid, if you click this button, it will take everybody who has an outstanding balance and simply mark that as having been paid. So an important tip to remember is that if you are working in Managed Rodeo Payments and you had been in the Managed Rodeo Entrants, when you make an update here, such as we did with Roberta Hayes, where Roberta is now fully paid, when you go back to Managed Rodeo Entrants, you will need to refresh the page because this page does not know yet. This hasn't updated its information that the payment has been made. So if we simply click the refresh button, now it shows that Roberta has paid all the fees, and you've refreshed your browser, and now it's back up to date. That is all for Chapter 6 on managing rodeo entries and payments. Next up is Chapter 7, Generating the Draw. We will see you at Chapter 7.